Like, obviously, this Diddy case is a huge stepping stone for so many people to receive justice, but it's not just people that were abused by him and elites. Guys, we're talking about so many people, right, who are low-key in this club, low-key in this secret society, who practice the same thing. They all go by the same playbook when it comes to these rituals, when it comes to using people. And I want to share this because just thinking about how many times that I was shrugged, and also the fact that I have to like maneuver my dialogue here is TikTok, it's pathetic. But just thinking about the times that I was shrugged and how many people really can relate to this. It's not just women. Men are abused every single day. Women, in fact, abuse other women every single day. So aside from like my ex and other places that I had lived, when I was telling stories about when I was living in Enfield, Connecticut with my old roommate who just framed me as, I'm assuming, what she was doing. You know what I mean? Just framed me as like this big pervert weirdo and just made a whole big scene, gathered as many people in law enforcement that she could, manipulating men to do favors, and just had everybody looking at me like, again, like I had just ran over their dog in front of them, right? And I want to share two times in particular. There was one time that, you know, I came home from work and there were two other coworkers there, right? So it was my roommate, Marco, and Christine. And it's like they had a couple bottles. They were all just sitting there hanging out. So I had some drinks with them. So I was drinking their stuff. Mind you, there were 2 bottles of alcohol, and they were like, oh yeah, like try, you know, suggested one. Obviously the one that they weren't drinking, the one that had stuff in it, right? So I had a drink with them, and I remember vocalizing things like I was just so sick of being sabotaged. I was like, just all these things that people were doing to me. And again, it was things that they were low-key doing, things that they were being compensated to do to me. And I saw like the way that they were all looking at each other. It was like the guilt, like their eyeballs were just bugging out of their head. And then it was like whatever was in there started hitting me. And like when they saw that it was hitting me, they all like started looking at each other and like smiling with their eyes. And it was just really fucking creepy. And I remember I was like, okay, like I'm gonna go to bed. And I went upstairs, and you guys, like pretty sure I locked the door, but just waking up, I just remember flashes of like, you know what I mean? Like when someone's like on you type of thing, and waking up the next day and like downstairs just feeling like weird. And I'm like, it's like I honestly got the vibe that they like legit, or it could have just been my roommate, I don't know, but like I just know that people got used to just pulling my pants down and probably setting the stage and like taking pictures or whatever, and acting like that was me, acting like you didn't just put something in my drink to where. And when I said I'm pretty sure I locked the door, I just remember there was like my lock was working, and then it was either when I was at work or something. I just remember I wasn't able to shut my door all the way anymore. And I'm like, when did that happen? You know what I mean? To where the doorknob isn't locking, but also like it's just something was like off on the hinges to where it just wasn't shutting all the way. You really had to like maneuver it to get it to shut. Okay, so another time, this is huge, because after this night that I'm about to explain, everybody at work, honest to God, looked at me like I was Jeffrey Dahmer. Like I never experienced anything like this in my life, and this, I believe, is to cover up what was done to me. And this is where, you guys, like, you need to pay attention to the spiritual world, okay? Because there really are, I almost said skinwalkers, but lower vibrational entities, like actual demons that are operating out of meat suits. You know what I'm saying? And this is why it's just so important to look into what's gonna raise your vibration, even though to some people that may sound fruity. You never know, again, who is preying on you, what they're capable of doing. Just because you would never think of doing something, that doesn't mean somebody around you isn't thinking about doing that to you. And it's not only because they're envious, they see the way other people are looking at you, it's also for money. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So I came home from work one night, right? And again, my roommate had just completely set the stage. I came home, there were like these little nippers all over the coffee table. Like literally, like it was like a staged, looking back, it was just a completely staged thing, making it look like she got fucked up by herself, right? There was an open bottle of Prosecco that was halfway. And anybody that used to know me, Prosecco was just my jam, right? So I saw that and I was like, oh, fuck yeah. I went and poured the whole thing in a glass, went upstairs in my roommate's room and was talking to her. And I was like, dude, like there were so many of these like root beer nippers everywhere. And I was like, dude, like, are you okay? And she was in a towel, right? Crying on her bed, saying that her and her ex-boyfriend, mind you, the whole reason that we moved in together was that her ex-boyfriend, who was also in law enforcement, who also got fired, allegedly, she needed to get away from him. So it was like a rush to move in together, right? It was like a total setup. Conveniently, my sister had just given me 30 days to move out of her place. Go into work the next day, my roommate all of a sudden needs a place to live. This was the setup. So apparently, right, back to what I was saying, she's in a towel. She said that her and her ex had gotten into this huge fight. They were fighting outside, which a couple days later, my neighbor did confirm. The neighbor across the street, who I believe was a Mason. He confirmed that they were like in the street making a scene, and she was like really upset about it. She said that she was like, got so mad at him that she put her hands on him. She had like either her hand or her toe, something to where she said she blacked out and was like going crazy. And I knew there was something in the Prosecco after I had started drinking it, because it all of a sudden just punched me in the face, right? I started crying, talking about my ex. And so as she was like, we were just going back and forth, like sharing. And I remember just feeling weird because like her towel was like slipping and slipping. And I remember legit being like, oh dude, like your towel's slipping. And it honestly was like, she was trying to seduce me to like hold some, almost like a lesbian video blackmail over my head or something, right? That was like, you know, when you just know things and you can't explain how you know them, but it was like, why does it feel like she's letting her towel slip on purpose? You know what I mean? And back in the day, like 2019, 2020, I would make like jokes about like lesbian corn, but I am a hetero, and I know that like my demeanor, like I just give softball coach vibes and my voice is really deep, but like a bitch is a hetero. Don't care about anybody else, do what you want to do, no judgment, you know what I'm saying? But like, I honestly think that she thought that maybe I was bi. And again, a lot of narcissistic people are in the closet, and the reason why they torture other people is because they feel like they can't be themselves. So once I was just like very, you know what I mean? Like, dude, your towel's slipping. And then I was like, all right, I'm gonna go to bed. And like nothing came of that. It just felt like the plan didn't work, right? And also maybe hurting their ego. And I get that, like, you know, everybody that abused me is stalking my content. So they're like gonna be like, oh, wow. But it's like, you really had to be there to like feel, I'm like, why does it feel like you're trying to come on to me right now? You know what I mean? And I think she very much tried to flip the narrative to other people. And if she tried to say anything like that about me, it's like, no, you were paid to lie. It's like, lie to everybody all you want. You know what you did. You know how much you got paid. You know that you're living off of finances that belong to me. And again, I want to preface here how sad not only people are to jump to believe things about other people, right? Because they're miserable in their own life, but how miserable and twisted people are with just displaying their own mind with what they choose to make up about other people, getting a high off of falsely informing people for their own benefit, right? Like, there were times at my job where people, guys, like, they looked like they wanted to kill me. People would come in, they would look at, like, my roommate. This is a couple times, like, in particular. They would look at her. She would, like, look at me, put her head down, and just scurry away like a little puss bag, right? evident that she was making up bullshit and was too much of a pussy to ever come out and, you know what I mean? Like, if I really did something, tell me what I did. Tell me what you told other people. You never will, because it's fucking bullshit, right? And people would look at me, right? They'd be like, ugh. Like, I just remember walking by people who were giving me the dirtiest look and, like, just looking at them like, fuck what you heard. Fuck what you heard, bitch. Go ahead and believe it. Like, especially the people, even people in my family, but people that were well over 50 that wanted to believe this shit, right? To me, it's like, wow, you've spent over half of a century on this earth and you've yet to acquire any ounce of critical thinking skills. You're an idiot, bitch. But again, like, I knew I needed to share those two things because of how everybody treated me in public after those 2 nights that I shared. Especially the night with my roommate in a towel. Like, everybody at work, like, just shunned me. You know what I mean? And it's like, I say that God was with me, but at the same time, for anybody else that's going through, like, experiencing this, I just feel like I can't stop talking about it because of how long it took me to realize that, like, I was being SA'd. People were, you know, not only just got too comfortable pulling my pants down, pretending to be me online, all of this, but then going so far as to showing what they created to everybody. Having other people be so disgusted with me and have me just have no idea what the hell was going on this whole time. Have people in my real life that I thought were my friends and be like, you desperately need therapy. And it's like, I don't know what you're talking about, right? So I have come to a place where I've forgiven people, but justice will be served. I'm going to forgive people for myself. But it's like, this situation is so sick that I know in my heart, no matter how long it takes, justice will be served. I did not go through that for nothing. And anybody else experiencing the same thing, it was not for nothing. You're not only going to help other people, but you will be vindicated.